What's up, Kristina?
Hello, Steven. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing well. Very good. Welcome to the TheAirFresheners.
The TheAirFresheners podcast.
Episode 5.
We made it. We released our first 4 on 5.
On our way.
On our way. So,
what are we doing here? This is a different setup than usual.
yeah, we're on my couch in my living room because everything is shut down because of the coronavirus right now. Everything in my apartment, we can't get inside any of the rooms. So we're next to our third co-host, Kygo, which is my roommate's dog.
He'll tune in eventually.
Yeah, you might hear him once or twice. But
Which is fine. He's cute. For our actual viewers on YouTube, I'm sure
he's adorable.
Something different and great
when he's not barking.
Yeah, or just licking the couch.
Yeah. But
anyway, this isn't about Kygo.
Not about Kygo.
What are we talking about?
So today we launched our first 4 episodes, and within like the first hour or two, I think we both equally felt some kind of unsurety about what we were doing. And I think a lot of it came from the fact that we're both being so vulnerable about some topics, and we're just basically putting everything out there for the world to see.
Yeah, I feel like for me, when I called you this morning, I was like, okay, this is so official now. Like, we've worked really hard the past 3 months to make this happen, and now it's like, okay, public. And like, once you realize that these conversations that seem very private when we're recording are like out there for everybody, we like kind of freaked out a little bit. But I think that's just kind of what we're going to talk about today, is that like self-doubt and like reassurance, like how to have the reassurance in yourself, and like the tools to like make yourself get out of that like negative self-talk. Because I do that. I've struggled with that my whole life, to stop like doubting myself. And I think that's just like a normal part of being a human, is that you just think you're not good enough. So
yeah, I think everyone, no matter how great you are, you have some self-doubt and something that's in your head that makes you question what you're doing. Yeah. But what specifically this morning made you feel doubtful about what we were doing? Like what was it?
I think it was the idea of being so open about like sex and like relationship experiences, and understanding how other people would feel watching it, or the judgment they would cast on me. Like, that was just my own thought process. Was like, I thought of like a few people that were like gonna be disappointed in me or things like that, and that's just something I'm assuming for myself, and that's probably not even real.
Thinking worst case scenario.
Yeah, exactly. I was really fearful of the other people's like opinions they would have on me after just like talking about a lot of things that we're touching on. So, and that's so sad, because it wasn't like, oh, I wish I didn't say that. It was like, oh, I don't want people to think of me differently. Like, I've always been a people pleaser. Like, my whole life, it goes back to like growing up and being just like wanting to make sure everything was okay. Like, personal life, outside of like my family life, whatever. Like, I always wanted to like mediate everything. So to like start something that might upset people or might disappoint people, like,
it's a challenge.
Yeah, that really made me feel like, oh shit, I should stop talking. Yeah. Yeah. What about you? Did you have like one thing in particular that was like, I don't want anyone to actually hear this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think for both of us, sex and religion, because there's a few people that like I would consider to be like close friends, and especially family, that for one, with religion, like my opinions on religion and my spiritual journey and how I've deviated away from certain things, it might make some people upset to hear about it, but like, it's my truth, and I just have to accept that like I'm putting it out there, and no matter what, like it's my life, it's my journey, and I want people to hear about it, so I have to accept that. And then for sex, like, I'm one of the most open people that anyone knows in person about sex, but the fact that I'm going to be putting most of my sex life out there online for other people to hear it and see it, like, it's kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
But we want to make all of these topics a little bit more normal and more acceptable to speak about. So I find confidence in the fact that that's what we're going to be doing over time.
Right. It's not that we're like just sharing this for no reason. I think that everything we talk about here is helping us expand, like being able to be more confident in like what we're talking about, but also giving other people the reassurance that like we can start having these conversations and develop mentally better than, you know, just asking each other like how the weather is or whatever, you know, like let's
boring small talk
be
conversation.
more like substantial, you know? So, do you feel like when you get into like negative loops, or if you have that like negative self-talk, is there something you like resort to stop that?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the big like positive traits of myself that I've worked on a lot over the past couple of years is like identifying when I start getting stuck in like negative thought processes and like my ego takes over or like the little voice inside my head takes over. And I've gotten really good at turning that around into something positive, because like when you start noticing that, okay, this is just the voice inside my head like telling me I can't do this, from there you can say, wait a second, like I don't have to listen to that voice. I can turn this around in my favor. So I listen to a lot of affirmations. Like there's a lot of science behind affirmations and how it like reprograms your subconscious mind, and it starts making you think in a more positive way.
Yeah.
And then also too, like when I realize that I'm in like a negative thought loop, or I'm feeling down or I'm feeling bad about something, like just being grateful, like literally just like I'm grateful that like my body is functioning properly. I'm grateful that I have oxygen to breathe, like small little things like that, that they all help me get out of a negative thought loop. So I think
That's
anyone
awesome.
that is like struggling with like negative thought loops, or you notice it, like those two small things that would definitely help you 100%.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of touched on this on our first episode, but like starting your day with a thought process of being grateful, like even 3 simple things, like I have food, I have a vehicle, I have shelter. Like even if you just really let yourself think about those 3 things that you have that most people don't, it helps you get on the track of being like, okay, anything I face today is not that bad. And you're setting yourself up for like a more conscious like thought process throughout the day, you know? So like being grateful is huge. Like if you think of being that way, or even just like one thing throughout the day, you're already changing your thought process, you know? So like for affirmations, like I've really wanted to get into them, but I didn't know of like a place to look for them. Do you have a like recommended channel?
There's actually a YouTube channel. It's called Rockstar Affirmations.
Nice. Okay.
And for probably like 2 years now, like I've actively like I have their stuff downloaded on my phone. There's certain ones that I listen to that are specifically for like money and confidence and like just abundance and just like gratitude, just anything that's like positive related. And I will literally sit there and listen to them on loop, low volume, earbuds, like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day sometimes, like in the background while I'm like reading or while I'm like doing something in my room. And
so it's not even the like action of like hearing them and having to recite them, because that's like certain meditations, like affirmation meditations I've looked at. They're like, I am wealthy, and then they want you to recite it out loud, so you don't even really do that. You just listen to them.
Like there's a lot of benefit in reciting them, and like again, this like if you look into this enough, there's so much science that backs this up, and so many people that like fully agree that like affirmations have like changed their life. But like if you just listen to it, like your subconscious mind is taking in everything that it's hearing. So in perspective, like if you're listening to some super negative music, like a sad song or something like that, you're taking that in, and like it's going to change your emotions and it's going to change your state. So if you're listening to affirmations that are like I'm the best, I'm confident, I'm like whatever it is, like at some point you're gonna pick up on that and you're gonna start acting based off of what you're
like
hearing.
what you're intaking, like what you're listening to is like going into your like conscious mind in a sense, and then you're like all of a sudden depressed and you're like, wait, why do I feel that way? It's like, what have you been listening to, or like your music taste and things like that. So no, that makes a lot of sense. That's awesome that I never really thought about like listening to affirmations just like in the background of things. So that's awesome.
Definitely something that's good to listen to while you're like reading books or like driving, for sure.
Yeah, driving is like, that's a really great thing to listen to, because instead of listening to like the same 3 songs or whatever, like
same 6-song playlist I've had for the past year.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel about like other people's judgment on you? Do you take a lot of
I'm definitely like an overthinker, and every move that I make, I'm always like, okay, well, what's this person gonna think, what's this person gonna think, like what's gonna come from this? And it definitely affects a lot, and through us doing this podcast, I think it's really helped me get over that in a way, because like there's so many people that could be offended by certain things that like we're saying.
Right.
But at the same time, like there's also 1,000 other people for the one person that could be offended that actually like what we're saying.
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of why we're doing this podcast, is not for our current listeners. Like, yes, if anyone's like getting something out of that, like that's awesome. But I'm thinking about YouTube like down the road.
Yeah,
like
I
want to leave
now,
like some sort of like, not legacy, but I want to leave a trail of what things I was talking about in 2020. Like, this is the time. Like, this is like, I mean, Gary Vee talks about it all the time, that these are the early stages of the internet. So if someone comes across our fucking YouTube videos like in 20 years from now and something catches on, like, I just like to document things. And I think our intentions of just wanting to be out there and speaking about stuff, that's like the point of it. And every time I let myself like really think of the purpose of this and like sharing our truth or sharing our opinions for other people to hear, that it outweighs all of the things I think people are going to think of what this is, you know?
And like we're thinking about people's opinions of people that like we went to like school with, or like just
people from like 10 years ago that I haven't talked to,
like acquaintances that I work with and stuff like that. And like that's such a small group of people, and I love all these people. I absolutely love all these people, but like there's gonna be people that resonate with their message and are like, wow, I'm so glad you like said this. And like by us having confidence in what we're saying and like pushing through with this and like putting more of our stuff out and putting more of our truths out.
I'm so sorry, but Kygo has been bothering me for like 10 minutes. Please stop.
Kygo is just licking his couch. There's a giant wet spot like the size.
I was just thinking, like, every few minutes my eyes like wander back over and I'm like, stop it, please.
Yeah. It's like the size of a small taco now. Just a giant wet spot.
He's not barking, so I guess I gotta get over it.
Yeah, that's better. But
anyway.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's just there's so many people that'll resonate with the message that we're getting across if we keep on putting our truths out. And I feel like putting our truths out at some point, like we're gonna end up attracting the people that need to hear what we have to say.
Right. It doesn't matter if it's now or in the future or whatever. Like that's, doesn't really matter. So, another thing we kind of wanted to touch on was comfort zones, because we're talking about like self-confidence, how to get out of like negative thought processes. Like, do you feel like you are getting out of your comfort zone enough? Because like today when we launched our podcast, he is not.
Kygo is going.
It is so funny. Okay, I'm gonna just stay on topic.
Yep. Staying on topic. Here we go.
Do you feel like the uncomfort we felt today was? It's too much. I am sorry.
It's okay.
It's only like 10 seconds, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Anyways.
We'll just cut this like 10 seconds.
No, we'll keep it in there.
No!
Kygo's a star.
Jeez, like what, bitch? Like, this is so funny. Okay. Comfort zones. On that topic, we're talking
comfort zones. Yep.
Okay, anyway. What we've been... I just need a break.
It's okay.
Let's just pause. Well, this is fine. He stopped. Whatever. Okay. So one of our final points is talking about like comfort zones. So why is this so funny? Okay. Let's just take a nice deep breath. We got 13 minutes.
Great. Kygo wants to be a part of the show. He's going to be a part of the show.
He's done now.
All right. So okay, what are we about to talk about?
We've really hit on everything but the last point.
Okay.
Maybe you should talk about it.
All right, what's the last point?
How do you expand outside of your comfort zone?
Okay.
So let's just loop back to like just saying like this is our final point or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So like one of the last things we want to talk about.
All right. So one of the last things we like really want to talk about is just in the realm of like finding confidence in yourself and doing things that you know are like good for you. Like we want to talk about being. Hold on.
You were on the right path.
I just started thinking about him licking again. Okay.
He's done. He's over the couch.
Okay.
Do you want me to say it? Because I was already talking.
I got it.
Okay.
All right. So one of the last points that we want to talk about is the realm of like finding confidence in yourself and like doing things that bring you more confidence. So getting out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself, which is exactly what we're doing by doing this podcast. Mm-hmm. And there's just...
No, that's a really good point, because if you don't push yourself out of what's the most comfortable for you, you don't grow in that sense. Mm-hmm. Like, I had a really great friend of mine this morning text me because I was like, yeah, I'm kind of unsure about some things that we talked about. And she's like, if you feel like unsure of things, that means you're growing. Mm-hmm. And that was huge because I sent it to you and I was like, damn, that's so true. Yeah. Like, Jesse, you're so right. Like, just so you know, like, that's amazing. And she's done YouTube forever. So she's like, I have to tell myself that all the time, that like, this is growth. So, yeah, that really helped me realize that like, if we don't feel fully comfortable, that means that we're growing and we're being vulnerable. And like, that is confidence in being like, hey, this is who I am. Like, I'm sharing a part of you. Like, I'm sharing a part of who I am with you. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of people are going to do that. Yeah,
definitely not.
Yeah.
Everyone's always like so into just keeping everything to themselves. And like, I understand it for some people, but like, there's just so much that you can talk about and like share with the world and like just get out there. And like with the way that the world is transitioning, like we're putting so much out on social media, like we might as well just like get it out there.
And like be relatable to each other.
Yeah.
So like what is, other than today. Let me ask you first. You're going to ask me first.
I'm going to ask you first.
No.
What brings you out of your comfort zone, Kristina?
Here goes Kygo. Okay. Okay. Something that really brings me out of my comfort zone is traveling and getting out of routine.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a normal thing for you.
It's so normal, and people think like, oh, you just do that all the time. But like, that is a structure I've made for my life since being an adult that I've put there for a reason because it expands me so much. I'm not comfortable with it.
Very interesting. Because like, I see you like someone that like knows you pretty well. Like, I see you as like one of the most seasoned travelers that like I'm really cool. Friends with. Yeah. So that's interesting.
That's always, like, the first time I traveled outside of the U.S., I was by myself. And that was the first time I was like, there is no one here that I can run to and help me. And that made me so much more confident in myself. And then after every single trip that I did that with, that layered on top of each other for that self-confidence. So now I like to expand that way, and I will, you know, meet somebody in a random state or like a different country. Like, it's just really cool to be able to like meet people online or like meet people on Instagram or whatever, like in a photography community. And this happened like almost 4 years ago, where a group of photographers and I like met on Instagram, and in 6 months we all met up in Iceland.
Oh wow.
And like,
I remember when you took that. That's
dude,
awesome.
Like, it's just so cool. Like, that was one of the first times that like my sister was with me, but like it was Jen and I and like 9 other guys that we never met, but like that was so expansive.
That's awesome.
You know? Yeah. So I don't know, like, I'm trying to catch my breath. But like, I think that's something that really has made me grow and become really like trusting of my intuition, because when I'm home, I'm so comfortable with routine. I love routine. But then when I get out into a place that I don't know, that's like, okay, you just have you and you have to figure that shit out. It's so cool.
That's a challenge, but like it's the best challenge.
Yeah, that's definitely outside of my comfort zone of not knowing like what's gonna happen. So
and that, like, for me too, like I want to travel. Like I'm working on setting myself up to the point where I can travel routinely. And like, if you look at like my bucket list for my life, like most of it just consists of like traveling and getting immersed in other cultures. And like, I want to go to like Thailand with like just a backpack on, me by myself, like 6 months, like no direction, literally just get out there and just let the universe just like take me wherever it's going to take me. So like, I know that would be so expansive for me as a person, and would improve everything in my life.
Yeah, it really would. I feel like it's such, like, traveling is such a, like, cliche topic now. But if you do it in a very minimalistic way, where you're not trying to stay at like the best like hotel,
bringing
or
10 pairs of shoes with you,
like if you just do it in a very like, you know, simple way, then it's gonna change your life. I mean, I've been on trips where I do bring like a suitcase of things, and I'm like, I didn't even use like half of this. And I mean, I think we'll definitely touch on this stuff in later episodes, but yeah, that's like the one thing that like really breaks me out of my comfort zone of just not knowing what to expect. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, like that's even awesome. Like the last time I was in New York, or like 2 times ago, I like took the subway the wrong way, and I'm pretty confident in the subway by now because like, I've been there my whole life. And I had like a huge suitcase with me, and like I'm sweating, and I'm like just laughing. Like I just ended up laughing about it, and someone's like, "Do you need help?" I was like, "No, I'm good. Like I can figure this out, whatever." Because I've like lugged my, you know, my suitcase like up these stairs like 2 or 3 times at that point, and I'm just dying. But I was like, if this was me at home, I would be so mad. But since I'm in a new location, I'm just like, nope, this is expected. Like I'm just like, this is like how, especially New York is, but like this is how it goes. Like you just have to expect like nothing. So it might be a really bad trip, you know. So whatever.
But it's all a part of the experience, no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. What is something that like brings you outside of your comfort zone?
So we were like talking about this earlier, and I think I realized that like I haven't truly been outside of my comfort zone anytime recently, because like I'm usually pretty comfortable all the time. And when I was thinking about like when the last time I was actually out of my comfort zone, it has to do with some kind of like business venture or something that I'm starting. Like for example, this podcast. Like this podcast is the most I've been out of my comfort zone in quite a while. And like I still feel pretty comfortable in it, but like I know I'm reaching new areas that I've never been inside before. And like I've done like real estate stuff before. I've done like other businesses, and like that's truly what brings me out of my comfort zone, is just like trying new things. And like I have to trust that it's going to either work out in my best interest, or it's not going to work out in my best interest. Right. And knowing that, like, it gives me peace of mind all the time. So like I'm usually always pretty confident in whatever step I'm taking. Like if real estate didn't work out for me at the time that it didn't work out for me, or the online business that I ran before didn't work out for me, like it's led me up to the point of where I'm at now. And like the things that I learned through that have made me come to the point of where I'm like, I'm going to start a podcast.
Right. Like you wouldn't have gotten to this point if it wasn't for the last 4.
Yeah.
You know?
And like I'm always trying new things. I always love trying new things. And like at some point eventually I'm going to find what sticks. And it's all a part of the journey, and it's all fun. But yeah, that's like the biggest thing that takes me out of my comfort zone, is just trying new life paths, I guess you can say. And
you'll probably take that for the rest of your life. Like when you're 40 or you're 50, like you will be so comfortable in taking in new things that it won't be like, oh, I have to stick to this one way of making money or this one type of lifestyle. Like that's such a good habit to like touch on now and to kind of be comfortable with now, because like later on in life you're gonna be like, yeah, I've been doing like random new things all the time. Like this isn't different for me. Like that is the biggest block that I see for a lot of people, is that they're like, this isn't in my structure of how it's supposed to go, so I can't do it, you know? And that's one thing that I've like came to acceptance about this, because like I used to get a lot of shit from people who were like close to me before, and they're like, oh, well, you're always trying something new, you're always doing something new. And it's like, yeah, I'm still like 24 years old. Like I'm gonna be trying new shit my entire life. Like I want to try as much as I can
and I want to see what I like. And then at some point, eventually when I'm ready, like I'll settle on one thing, and that one thing will be my thing. But I'm also open to the fact that later on down the road, like I'm super adaptable. And if something changes the course of my life, then like, so be it. Like, that's it. Like I love just change, and I love new things.
That's so different from a lot of people.
Yeah. A lot of people think they have to pick one thing and stick with it the rest of their life. And it's like,
that's not how the
maybe
world
for
is
some
anymore.
people, but like it's not me.
Yeah. And I don't think that's how life is going to be for a lot of people anymore. Like you pick one career and you're going to do it for 30 years. We don't live in that world anymore.
Definitely not. That's
like
going
you
away
better find
so
3
fast.
things to make you money.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that some other time, but like comfort zones are huge. And I think one thing we kind of want to wrap up with is really from this podcast episode, just think about what you do that's outside of your comfort zone. I've like heard a thing like do something outside of your comfort zone like once a day, and like I do it like once a month. You know,
but once every couple months.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe just like really think about that question, like what brings you outside of your comfort zone, and even if you can't do it every day, but like make a point of it being part of your life.
Yeah. Like you're always going to grow if you're outside of your comfort zone, and if you're stuck in the same spot and you're comfortable with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. You're not going to grow. Plain and simple.
Nothing's going to change if you want it to.
Yeah.
So that's huge. I feel like we hit on a few good topics today.
Yeah, we definitely did for sure.
Yeah.
Perfect timing for the launch of our new podcast.
Yeah.
And
this was a great like continuing episode.
Yeah. Continued to be continued
for sure.
But
okay, well, thank you for listening.
Yeah,
if you're still here,
it's much appreciated.
All right, goodbye.
See you later.